On the issue of redistribution, of wealth, which Obama talked about as far back as 2001 in an interview, what is wrong with the redistribution of wealth? How are you going to help the people on the bottom of the income scale?
Well, obviously, that's been tried. That is an old left-wing liberal view of how you help people. They tried it in other countries in America. Look, you don't take money from one group and give it to another. You let people have the ability to accumulate wealth, create jobs, create opportunities, create all the things that a free society and free enterprise system. Of course, we have an obligation. We have Social Security, we have Medicare, we have unemployment insurance, we have all of those things. But to somehow say that we're going to take money because Joe the plumber reaches a certain income level, now we're going to take that money from him and give it to somebody else, that's a fundamental contradiction to what's made this country the strongest and greatest nation in the world. It's a fundamental contradiction, and the American people are beginning to figure it out.
But we know that there's an income gap.
But instead of taking more from our families and our small businesses, thus creating this atmosphere where we cannot create jobs, hiring more people, not if we're taking more from our businesses. Instead of doing that and then spreading that income according to a politician's priorities, let's do what John McCain has been saying. Let's spread opportunity so that people like Joe the plumber and others can create more jobs. They can hire more people because they'll be able to reinvest their hard-earned money according to their priorities. We can be compassionate and we can be generous with others without government mandating where those dollars should go to.
What about a minimum wage?
One of the reasons for that inequality you pointed out, of course, one of the major reasons is because the rising cost of health care. Fewer and fewer lower-income Americans are able to afford it in small businesses. We want to make health insurance and health care affordable and available in America. That's a key item.
What about a minimum wage increase? Would you consider it?
As long as we take care of small businesses. Small businesses right now, I see them every day. They say, you increase the minimum wage, I lay off workers. Is that what we want to do right now? Of course not. Of course we don't want to have small... I'm insulting your intelligence by reminding you we've lost over 700,000 jobs already, okay? Small businesses created over 300,000 jobs. Who are we going to depend on? Who do we want not to lay off workers?
Are you in favor of a stimulus package? Are you in favor of an additional stimulus program?
Look, I will do anything that we think would be necessary to help the economy. We just passed a massive highway bill, as you know, which is going to create jobs in the infrastructure. If we have and the last thing we need is to have another appropriations bill that's loaded up with pork barrel earmark projects and provisions such as a card check or other stuff that they will try to add on to it. I want to have a look at it first. One of the reasons we're in this ditch is because out of control spending. We're not going to have any more pork barrel projects while I'm President of the United States. And that out-of-control spending is what has been one of the major factors in the economic crisis that we're in today.
Let me ask you about the Treasury's most recent plan. You said you're disappointed by the track that this country has taken so far. Is that saying that you do not approve of Paulson's plan to invest in the banks? Is that what you're saying?
Look, I'm not opposed to that at all. I think that we have to do what we have to do. But his first priority, and he should have told the American people right away, is to keep people in their homes. That's our first priority. Some of these banks that we're bailing out are co-conspirators, okay? And the second thing is we want people held accountable. People out there at our town hall meetings are angry. They're not upset, they're angry. And they want people held accountable, both in Washington and on Wall Street.
Let me ask you about this plan. The Treasury is investing in banks now. Some people wonder if the government's going to invest in the automakers, in other industries. How worried are you about going down this path, in some cases nationalization, government owning 80% of AIG?
I'm very worried about it. I know these are extraordinary times, and I want us out of the banking business as quickly as possible.
How do you rein in big government?
Well, one is the spending. Spending is what makes government bigger. It's spending that gets it out of control. We Republicans presided over the largest increase in the size of government in history. If you're going to increase the size of government, you're going to increase spending, and sooner or later you're going to have to increase taxes. Get spending under control, rein in the size of government, and get some fiscal accountability back in the Congress of the United States.
And look what the big spenders in Congress have done, that John McCain has been fighting all these years. They have now incurred a $10 trillion debt that we're expected to hand to our children to pay off for us. That's not right. It's not fair. And on our watch, that will not happen. And that's why John talks about imposing the spending freeze that will hit all but the most vital functions of government, the worker retraining, the taking care of our veterans. He's got a list of those that are off the table, but we have got to quit digging ourselves in this hole, or forever we're going to be in this world of hurt in our economy. Again, it's not right. It's not fair. It's totally against the fundamentals of what we believe in, and that is government being reined in, allowing the private sector, our families, to make decisions for themselves and to be able to provide that opportunity equally to all.
Governor Palin, give me your sense of Ted
City.
Stevens. We've got obviously one of the big stories of the day.
Yeah. Ted Stevens, sad day for Alaska yesterday when he was found guilty of 7 felonies, and now he needs to do the right thing. And the right thing is, as he's proclaiming his innocence and proclaiming, too, that he will go through the appellate process, okay, then he needs to step aside and allow our state to elect someone who will be supportive of those ideals of America, the free enterprise, the missions that we're on to win the war, those things that have got to take place in order to progress this country. Ted Stevens has got to play a very statesman-like role in this now.
You've asked him to step down.
He should. Yes. And by the way, again, back on the spending thing is so important. The mayor of the city where you work has said they're going to freeze spending. If New York City, which is not known for its, conservatism in many respects, is going to be able to freeze spending and make spending cuts, across-the-board cuts, we in Washington should be able to do that too.
Right, and why we have to do it, Maria, also, is that will provide us the opportunity to get in there into every agency and department and service that's being rendered today to make sure that we're providing services efficiently. And I guarantee you, every place we look, we will be able to find places where we can create more efficiency and save the taxpayer dollars.
Some people worry about one party dominating the White House and the House and Senate, but people are frustrated after the last 8 years of economics, among others. How will you convince the American people that a divided government makes sense?
Listen to what they're saying. They're going to increase spending. They're going to raise taxes. Congressman Barney Frank, a powerful member of Congress, said we're going to go and find those rich people and tax them. We're going to increase spending. And then, incredibly, he said he's going to cut defense. They're going to cut defense spending by 1/4 when we're in 2 wars, and we need to expand the size of our military, particularly manpower-wise. Look, this is what, at least we got a sneak preview from Barney Frank and others as to what's in store for us.
How's the partnership going? Governor Palin, when I spoke with you in August, you weren't sure if you were on anybody's short list, and then 2 days later you get the call. Yeah. How did it all come down?
It came down the way it was supposed to, and it's all good. And it is very good. The partnership is very good. And John McCain, he is a true leader, and a true leader in this campaign, in unifying and creating this cohesiveness that we need in order to get the message out there, allowing voters to know the stark contrast between these 2 tickets. And it's a world of difference what voters will have in front of them on November 4th to understand that our ticket supports policies that will create jobs and get the economy back on the right track and win the war, as opposed to a ticket that supports policies that will kill jobs and will harm our economy.
Can I just say, I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be happier. The enthusiasm, the support, the people who come to it. And look, here's 2 mavericks. Here's 2 mavericks. Did anybody expect us to agree on every issue? I think we'd be pretty dull. We just, on ANWR, we continue a discussion about that. We're not going to agree on every issue, but that's the fun of our relationship. And I can't tell you the excitement that she has generated and the role model she is. I couldn't be happier.
What's going to be your 1, 2, or 3 things on the agenda if you win in January?
Well, of course, national security. That's always every president's first obligation, to make sure our nation is safe, and we're addressing our national security concern. The second thing really is the most important thing that leads to everything: restore trust and confidence. Americans are angry, they're worried, they have no trust, they have no confidence, with good reason, in their government. And that means a plan, an economic plan, to get America's economy out of the ditch and going again.
Senator McCain, Governor Palin, good to have you on the program. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Maria.
We appreciate it.